I'm Mason Pelt for Push ROI. I want to explain the offer that I sent Spring Free. I think it's fair that I explain it, right? Apparently, you need everything explained to you, like a literal teenager getting their first lease signed, where they are walked through term after term. Spring Free EV negotiated and signed a contract with Push ROI. They copied and pasted that contract into a Google Doc. The CFO of the company, in multiple press releases also listed as a co-founder, negotiated individual clauses in that contract. At no point did anyone from Spring Free say a CIIA agreement was required. At no point prior to signing of that contract, that is. At no point during negotiations was Push ROI told that a CIIA agreement would be required. And it was never listed as a condition in the contract that Sunil Paul, CEO of Spring Free EV, did sign after it was negotiated by Cassandra John, at the time a co-founder and CFO of Spring Free EV. That's two ostensible finance professionals who signed and negotiated a contract. A third person who was involved in the negotiation, Vishran Vishadakan, I believe I'm pronouncing that correctly, was also tagged by the former CFO, Cassandra John, in a Google Doc where I answered the question about termination, stating flatly that there was no termination for convenience. It was unambiguous. I changed the language based on the question, based on talking to Push ROI's lawyer. Now, it was very clear to everyone that the contract could not be terminated for the first 4 months, and that a minimum fee of $22,000 would be paid to Push ROI. That's the only possible result of the way the contract was written. I have checked with 9 lawyers. Some of them work for private equity firms, specifically ones that you have sought funding from. It is concerning to me, and it is concerning to anyone doing due diligence, that a group of finance professionals would handle a contract so poorly. The angry chest thumping that you would terminate a contract that you knew you had no legal or contractual means to terminate because I wouldn't sign a CIIA agreement. The fact that Michael Weir contacted my former business partner John Norwood during the initial negotiation following the breach to ask if Mason Pelt would really sue over this amount of money. The fact that one lawyer contacted me and said they would set up a call but never did. The fact that another lawyer argued after you copied and pasted into a Google Doc. Copied and pasted the contract into a freaking Google Doc and negotiated individual clauses in the contract and compared the actual master service agreement to the language of the scope of work. That you did not meet mutual assent with the contract. In other words, that you are finance professionals who needed me to sit there like a leasing agent for a teenager getting their first apartment and walk you through clause by clause, which I would have done if you had ever once asked. That's what's concerning to me. That's what's concerning to due diligence people. I made an offer for you to pay everything you owed back in December. Everything you owed according to the terms of the contract, at that time not including interest, and if you had paid it, I would not have written anything because there would have been nothing to write. Later, I had lawyers, different lawyers, once from New York, at the time I very much respected Akiva Cohen, offered a lower settlement amount, one that you should have happily taken. An insulting amount of money, I think it was like $2,100 was offered to me. And the confusing part, I was told by my lawyer, Akiva Cohen, that you referenced a prior offer. And I find out that that prior offer was made not to me, but to John Norwood by Michael Weir. John Norwood has not had an ownership stake in Push ROI since September of 2019. No offer was made to me until January. And that offer was referenced as the second time it was made. The way you have chosen to conduct business is messy and startup-y and move fast and break things. But your company is going to control leases, a vehicle for people. You want to target rideshare drivers. You have behaved like an incredibly predatory finance company or a startup with no idea what the hell they are doing. I can forgive startups with no idea what the hell they're doing. That's why I have never attacked a company who didn't pay in the way I have attacked Spring Free before. All of this comes down to the fact that you are going to behave the exact same way you have behaved concerning Push ROI with a fucking Uber driver.